Before we move on, respecting our last slide lesson, just a word about the time in which the Reformation took place, which was during the time of the Dark Ages, the Middle Ages, or it's even called the medieval times. Now, this was a time of intellectual decline, superstition, and ignorance. Much of Europe was in decline during this period of history. These things influenced and facilitated persecution of the Hebrews and Christian believers as well. Moreover, the reading of the scripture was strictly prohibited by the Catholic Church. That period of history, known as the Dark or Middle Ages, started around the time the Western Roman Empire declined and lasted between the 5th and the 15th century. It was marked by intellectual ignorance and superstition. White European historical scholars of late have been trying to put a more positive twist on this period of history. But the truth is, Europe was indeed at its worst. Especially the Catholic Church was in power, controlling the government of countries and whole areas. Most European scholars will not completely admit this, but as the Moors began filtering into Europe, they actually became a civilizing influence upon the Europeans. Now, when we speak of the Moors, we are talking about black Africans that migrated from parts of Africa to Europe. The Moors brought new and innovative medical techniques, healthier sanitary practices. For instance, the Moors were the ones that encouraged the Europeans to keep their livestock out of places where humans lived, and many other sensible living practices. So now we continue our application of the acid test, this being the 10th and final trait. Um, we continue our application of the acid test to this bold claim that the papacy is the little horn. All other attempts of comparing these traits to other figures or kingdoms has failed. So, the 10th and the final trait. This little horn will think to change times and laws. So now, the question we are asking is this: did the papacy seek to change the law of God? So here we have a quote from Lucius Ferraris in Prompta Bibliotheca, article Papa 2, volume 6, page 29. It says, the Bishop of Rome is of so great authority and power that he can modify, explain, or interpret even divine laws. The Bishop of Rome can modify divine law since his power is not of man but of God, and he acts as vicegerent or representative of God upon earth.
So here I am at St. Louis Roman Catholic Church, and right over there is the Ten Commandments. So let's see what they say.
Now notice how this Catholic version of the Ten Commandments removes the second commandment that forbids the making of graven images, bowing down to them or serving them, and replaces it with the third commandment. And then it divides the 10th commandment that forbids coveting into two separate commandments so that they can maintain the appearance of having 10 commandments. All you have to do is read Exodus chapter 20 verses 1 through 17 and Deuteronomy chapter 5 verses 1 through 21, and you will clearly see that the Roman Catholic Church has changed God's holy law. And whether you like it or not, the truth is the truth.
So now, clearly, the Catholic Church changed the law of God, as we have seen in this video where this gentleman demonstrates how the Catholic Church has changed the law of God. But not only did the Catholic Church change the law of Yah, the Catholic Church also changed times and seasons. Specifically, the Catholic Church changed the day of the Sabbath. So now let's talk about the blue laws. There are laws already on the books of almost all 50 states that prohibit or ban altogether some or all Sunday activities for religious purposes. These laws are called the blue laws. They are not being enforced as of yet, but we are fast approaching the time when these laws will be enforced. Here we have a quote from Catholic.org. The quote is by Pope Francis, July of 2014. And I quote, "Working on Sunday has negative effects on families. Maybe it's time to ask ourselves if working on Sunday is true freedom. Spending Sundays with family and friends is an ethical choice for faithful and non-faithful alike." And also a quote from the Catholic News Agency, August 12, 2015. And I quote, "Pope Francis, Sundays are a gift from God. Don't ruin it." Francis pointed to the Sunday as a particularly important time for rest because in them we find God. He stressed this in the context of his September 26th speech in Philadelphia at the World Meeting of Families. Thus, there is no doubt that stressing Sunday is high on the Pope's agenda. Now, here's the problem though. Yah authorized no one, no human, no man, no creature to abrogate or change his law, especially when it comes down to the day of worship, which actually the day of worship was Saturday, not Sunday. Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, verse 2. "Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall ye diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God, which I command you." And also Exodus 20th chapter, verse 8 to 11. "Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it." So, in conclusion of this series of lessons, we believe we have identified the little horn in the prophet Daniel's dream. What we hope to do now in our following series is to go into more depth regarding these prophecies and how they parallel with those of the book of Revelation's prophecies. Shalom.